welcome to this series of videos where I'm gonna share with you how to create an emotional balanced life and reprogram your brain with simple techniques to reset your nervous system. My name is Dani Hopen, I'm a quantum mentor, and I'm very happy to share those tools, those simple tools with you that can deeply change your life. And today it's all about what your nerve system tells about you. Do you know your nerve system says about you? We can perceive someone, scan someone, their attitude, their emotions, how they reacting, if we know how the nerve system works. And we're gonna explore that as well on this series. How our relationships are affected by our nerve system and the interaction with others, and how we manifest our life through our nerve system. Because yes, guys, you can use all the manifestation techniques. If your nerve system is damaged, it's imbalanced, you probably will manifest partially, or you're not gonna manifest at all. And you think it's something wrong with you, but it's just a matter of resetting the programs that are programmed on your nervous system, and everything starts changing. You know that phrase, the transformation is from inside out? That's the first stage, the foundation of any transformation. Work with your nervous system. Learn how to read your nervous system. What kind of emotions do you feel? What triggers you? What calms you down? What makes you happy? What kind of emotions you feel when you receive a present? Do you feel happy or do you feel guilt? What kind of emotions do you feel when you are getting out of your comfort zone? Where you are starting a new project? Is that fear that comes from first? Is that excitement? All of the emotions, all of those emotions that we feel in our daily life are signs and symptoms of our nervous system. And depending on the program that were programmed on our nervous system in a young age, we can be living one reality, but really aiming for experiencing something completely different. And we don't know why we cannot manifest. So, really understand how your nervous system works and how your nervous system is programmed can truly change your life forever, can really align you in every single level of your being. Because we can do all the techniques, but if the receiver is not coherent with that, the information that you will receive is disturbed, is incomplete. And the receiver that receives everything in our life is our nervous system. Yes, everything we receive, the good, the bad, it's through our nervous system. Our nervous system is the filter in our system that receives all this information, sends this information to the brain, and the brain sends a reaction. So depending how you were programmed in your younger age, you will have certain types of reactions. If you do a lot of mindsetting work, for example, but you do not include your body in this journey, you probably feel divided. Your mind knows what it wants, knows where you need to take action, knows where it wants to go. It knows you can do it, but for some reason you feel stuck. For some reason you feel fear. For some reason that you don't know where it comes from, you cannot move, you cannot take action. And that's because your nervous system is here and your mind sets over there. So first, to manifest, We need to align these polarities. We need to align these parts of ourselves so they are working together and not against each other. I had, um, for example, I'm gonna share with you my own story on that because that's how I deep dive into the studies of the nervous system and polyvagal theory. My life was all perfect. And that's a very good sign and symptoms, let's say sign and symptoms, of your nervous system dysregulation. I had everything. I have a beautiful family. I was thriving professionally. Um, in every area of my life, if you look from the outside, it was perfect. But inside, it was something missing. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know where it came from. I was trying to dig in and I was looking into past lives and, genetics and everything I could to shift that sensation that even though my life was perfect, because it was, I felt lonely. I couldn't enjoy the moment. I couldn't enjoy everything that was happening around me. I felt isolated from my own life. And that's when I came across the polyvagal theory that I didn't know at the time. And everything started to make sense because the sensations, it didn't match my reality. I wasn't, I was sad, but everything was so enjoyable and happy around me. And yeah, I could not understand what I was feeling. And through the true polyvagal theory, I started understanding a lot about myself in a deeper level that I never went there before. And the first realization was that when you have a dysregulated nervous system, it doesn't matter what you do. If your nervous system is not regulated, you cannot feel. So you can try to travel, you can try to party hard to make you feel good, you can try to buy everything that you desire because that it might give you a momentum of a good feeling, but then it goes away because it's not about the external world, it's how you feel internally, and your internal world can be something completely different than your external world. So I start practicing the tools and they are simply life changing. So I can deeply say to you that if you start using those tools, your life will change forever. Because working with my clients, and of course I started attract a lot of clients that were going through the same sensations and they would perceive the same things that I was perceiving, like they had everything but they could not feel. Or I had a lot of clients that they would feel good for a while and then come back after we did a deep work, and I was triggered by it. How come they come back if we did all this work and it felt like and they perceived they had a shift, a quantum shift in their lives, but after a while they came back. So I had this client, her name is Kate, and she was a mess when she came. She tried a lot of different techniques, a lot of different healings, modalities, therapies, and she always come back for the same pattern. She feels good for a while and then everything comes back. And I was triggered by that because she did 5 sessions with me and then she was very good for a while and the same thing happened. And I said, okay, let's work with your nervous system. Forget about your stories, forget about the memories. Let's work just with your nervous system. And stop taking all the drugs she was taking, Valium, sleep pills, wine every night. She started enjoying life, her work. She started to feel good on her skin. She's beautiful when she felt ugly, like all those down sensations that we feel when we are not good. And and then that's when, for me, was a shift that I need to work first on the nerve system with each client that came to me. Because if I don't shift the nerve system, then everything that I do will be a palliative work. And that's what I was seeing with me and other people. Like there was, these good moments and they come back. Because if you don't shift your body, your nerve system, then it's not embodied. Then the healing is not embodied. And to really shift your life, we need to embody this healing or anything, even with creation. If you want to create something, you need to embody that frequency. But imagine if you want to create a life that is adventure, that you travel around the world, that you are free to be, but your nerve system is programmed to stay on the same place because you learn on the young age that is danger to be out and about and be free to be, that you need financial security, so you need to work. You cannot travel that much because you need to work from 8 to 5 to feel secure. So you are in two realities, we can say. You have this beautiful reality that you want to create, but you are stuck in this reality that were programmed when you are young. And you don't know that because it's invisible, because it's your default, let's say. So the first mechanism of our nervous system is to protect us. So everything that happens when we are very young um, will influence how you see life nowadays, how you perceive your life. So if you went through a lot of things in a young age that your body learned that to protect you, you cannot have a relationship, you cannot be successful because there might be danger, you cannot get out of your comfort zone because you might be killed. All of those sensations are blocking you to create a life that you desire. And it's the same on our emotional level. Like how you relate emotionally with things that happen in your life has to do with how you learn to cope emotionally in a young age. So if you were not supported emotionally in a younger age, then it's very hard for you. You probably feel triggered all the time because you don't have the coping mechanism of resetting yourself back to your ventral state. Reset yourself back to your nervous system, and it's like, okay, it's okay, I'm safe. So all of that comes from how you were programmed, what you heard, everything we listen on our environment when we are younger will influence how you perceive and how you choose in your life. So, for example, a child that she lived in an abusive environment when she was young, mentally, physically, this person, it might have a deep desire to have a profound relationship when it grows up. It wants to find love, wants to experience true love. But because the nervous system is programmed to protect yourself, and he learned back then that relationship is danger, relationship is abuse, relationship is fight, relationship is not safe, you might meet someone that is exactly what you dream in your dreams of a relationship. But this person will feel danger to you because what your nervous system relates to love and a healthy relationship is the opposite of what you are experiencing right now. And then you start creating situations, you start creating thoughts, feelings, and emotions that will um, take you away of this relationship, or you start creating situations that are abusive, or you might be the one that start creating abuse and fights in your relationship because that's how your nervous system learned. So how do you do that? How can you start perceiving? How can you be aware if you are creating situations in your life that are not really true, that in an invisible way are trying to protect you? That's where those tools and those techniques come in. Because when you learn the technique, when you know exactly what your nervous system is trying to do, you can shift that with tools. You can shift that with techniques and start unblock all those protection layers, all those programs that are not serving you anymore. So the first stage to start mapping out, let's say, you need to map out your nervous system, like, where are you now? How do you feel most of the time? For then start to introduce techniques that will help you to shift from one state to another. So we have, through the polyvagal theory, we have three stages, main stages. One is the ventral stage or ventral state, which is the one that we are present, calm, that you feel secured, that you feel safe, that you can perceive life in a real terms. Because the other thing is, when you are in other states, which is fight and flight mode, sympathetic state and dorsal state, the perception you have about the reality is 90%. That is 90% the chance that is not real, because you are in a fight and flight mode. You are looking for danger all the time, and it might not be real. You might not be in danger. Or if you are in a dorsal state, which is very down, very freezing, you might be thinking that the whole world is against you, and it's not true. So all these mechanisms, all those functions of our nerve system, when you start be aware of it, when you start working with it instead of towards it, because when we are in fight and flight mode, or when we are very down, what do we want to do? We want to hide that part of ourselves. We want to pretend the feelings are not there. We put a big smile and we keep going. And what you do when you do that? You go against it. So the more you embrace your being, your health, wellness being, your mental health being, even though it's not what you want to experience right now, let's say you're not in a good space and you want to be in a good space, the more you embrace and you start understanding how your brain works, how your nervous system works, how do you process, how do you see life, more you can shift that and break those patterns, break that program. So don't feel afraid to look into yourself, being dark about it. It's so programmed that you didn't have control, but now you have the control to change. So the more you are able to look into that, what parts of yourself that you're vibrating, that you are relating to others, that is not healthy anymore. You don't need protection anymore. You can protect yourself. So there is a lot of work around that we do to shift the nervous system. Inner child work is one of the most important ones when we are working with the nervous system. But as this is just a video series, I'm gonna share simple tools that you can start shifting that on your own. and they are transformational. So the three states that we are in most of the time, and we are always fluctuating from one to another. The first one is the ventral state. So again, when you are balanced, when you're present, grounded, you know, those days that everything seems to be perfect, there is a flow, you can flow through, you don't feel triggered, um, you feel completely inside your, let's say, the best version of yourself. Then we have the fight and flight mode, the sympathetic state, where everything is fast forward, you are always anxious, everything is for tomorrow, there is a velocity that goes against the clock, the sensation of going against the clock, it's like a sign of fight and flight mode. And then we have the dorsal state, which is the state of feeling very down, depressed, apathic, no motivation whatsoever. You feel stuck, you feel freeze, you know what you need to do, but you cannot take action. So usually when you feel stuck, you are more in a dorsal state. And in our daily life, we travel through these three states. So depending, you know, maybe when you are in your work environment, you are more on fight and flight mode because you have deadlines, or you have someone that triggers you, that frustrates you, that makes you feel angry, that makes you, you know, want to fight, and that you need to protect yourself because, you know, they're not trustful. So all those sensations are more sympathetic state, fight and flight mode. And then maybe when you come back home is when you are on your balance. You're like, yes, you know, if the environment of your house it's healthy, you probably feel very protected in your house. You know, those days that you don't want to leave your house, that you just want to stay with your family, and so that's when you are in a ventral state. And then maybe when you are with your family, your big family, you feel more on a dorsal state because, you know, there is a lot of triggers that trigger your subconscious mind, that triggers your nerve system of everything that you lived, that you experienced with them in the past, and then that triggers your dorsal state where you feel very down, you feel sad, you cannot express yourself because, you know, that was suppressed when you were in a younger age. So you cannot communicate with your family, even though you might be a very good communicator outside your family environment. When it comes to your family, you freeze. That's a sign of a dorsal state. So different areas of our life, different types of relationships will trigger a different state. Our goal is not to live in a ventral state most of the time. It's like you feel, you know, peace and calm all the time. That's not real. That's not possible. We are infinite beings. We are here to experience emotions. The goal is to be able to reset yourself, to rebalance yourself quicker without getting stuck on those stages. So a child, for example, if you have kids, an asset for their life is when you teach them that they can reset themselves, they can reset their nerve system to come back to balance. So for example, as a society, we tend to live in a fight and flight mode. Collectively, we are living more in a fight and flight mode. Everything is fast, you know, information, and everything goes like, so anxiety, depression. So anxiety is like the top of fight and flight mode. Depression is on dorsal mode. So it's like people are going, we are going from one side to the other without being able to reset in a ventral state. And that's the problem, because you're not giving your body, your system, enough time to rest between you go from one state to another. and that creates a lot of disruption in our nervous system, which will, as a default, create a lot of disruption in your life. You start to feel confused, you start to feel stuck, you start to feel that you cannot see clear, anxiety and chaos, and you start doubting yourself, you start doubting your career, you start doubting your relationships. And sometimes it's just a matter of being able to rewire all of that and learn how to come back to the ventral state more often and spend more time in this state, which is the present moment, which is where you are grounded, where you can see properly. But often what we do, because we live most of the time on the fight and flight mode, when we start feeling confused, when we start feeling the chaos around us, we tend to go deeper in the fight and flight mode because you wanted the solution. You're looking for everything, and you do something here and you do something there, and you don't give time to yourself to integrate. Integration is ventral state. Integration is like allow your body to integrate all of that, to properly heal, and then you go to the next stage. So the first technique that I want to share with you guys this week, I want to invite you to start perceiving all of that in your life. Start reading your nervous system. Start perceiving your reactions, your actions. When you react to something, is that real? Is that really the reaction that it's a projection of the situation, or you are overreacting, or you are underreacting, or you're not reacting at all because you feel like it's better not say anything? So what triggers you? I want to ask you, invite you to perceive what triggers you in your daily life and how does this triggers you. So you feel frustrated, you want to kill someone, or you go down and you want to stay by yourself, you isolate yourself. Isolation is a dorsal state. What do you do when things happen in your life? In which state you vibrate, in which state you go for, you shut down, you go to your bedroom and you shut down, or you feel nervous, you feel anxious, and you want to find a solution very quickly. So all of that are signs and symptoms of how your nervous system is programmed. So this week, I want to invite you to start mapping out your nervous system. If you want to, you're more than welcome to write your answers, or just keep a perception, my partner said something that really triggered me, but it didn't really make sense why I felt triggered. Or sometimes it's a message that someone sends to you, and that is a word that triggers you. So just start to perceive, how do you feel in your work environment, for example? Is it safe? Do you feel safe? Do you feel unsafe? And then when you feel unsafe, you start having actions that are not very coherent with who you want to be, and you don't even know why, because you're trying to protect yourself. How do you feel around your loved ones? Do you feel fulfilled with them, or is there something missing even though you are receiving a lot of love? So I leave you with that this week, and the next week I'm gonna start bringing you tools that is gonna help you to shift from one state to another.